This is Chatterboxing. I'm Sean, and this is my prediction video for Anthony Crolla, Jorge Linares, the fight tomorrow night. Looking forward to this one. I think it's going to be very good. Big fan of both of them. Stylistically, I'm more of a fan of Jorge Linares, to be honest with you. I love his style, I love the way he fights. I love the fact that he travels all over the world. Anthony Crolla as well, I like. Great bloke. Stylistically, not as much of a fan of him as I am of Linares, but you know, he's entertaining. He always gives it his best. He's got a great story as well. Um, so yeah, I'm kind of a bit split on this, on who I want to win. I mean, I'll go for Crolla, obviously, because he's English and I do like him. But I do like Linares. I've got a lot of time for him. So yeah, may the best man win, really. Linares is very, for me, I like it because he's a counter puncher, but he's a counter puncher like a sort of front foot counter puncher, and I like that style. That's how I like to fight. I like the way he kind of comes in, you like kind of pressure you to make a move. He'll slip it, nice little uppercuts, hooks around the side. I like that style. He's got good movement, lots of feints, quick footwork, head movement, moves in and out of range quite nicely. Got a good punch on him. He's quite intelligent as well. You know, he can adapt. As I said earlier, he travels all around the world. He's never daunted by the prospect of doing that. We've seen him get off the canvas to win. The last fight I saw him against Kevin Mitchell. Kevin Mitchell is also one of my favourite fighters. At least he was. Now he's retired. But anyone who hasn't seen that, I suggest you watch it. It had everything: knockdowns, skill, great atmosphere. Yeah, Kevin Mitchell, I like his, you know, he's got a bit of a kind of Prince Nassim about him. You know, like kind of his sort of head movement, he dips in and out, and then he'll like kind of leap in. Great balance with a kind of leaping hook or uppercut. I like that kind of style. Linares took a bit of time to adapt to it, but he did. Possibly a bit lucky with the stoppage because it was like a kind of clash of heads. But still, I mean, I think that the best man won on the night. And he got knocked down. He's been accused of having no chin, but he got up and he won by not a TKO. So yeah, I mean, and that was in a very very good atmosphere in London, where Kevin Mitchell's from. He's also fought in Mexico, Argentina, Japan. So I don't think he's going to be particularly bothered by the atmosphere. I think he probably likes that kind of thing. Um, I think it'd be good for Crolla. I think it will help him out because it will give him that extra boost, that extra energy that perhaps he'll need. Um, but yeah, I'd say that the atmosphere isn't really going to have a big effect on Linares. In terms of Crolla, he's a bit more kind of basic, I suppose, if you will. He's kind of in some ways similar to Liam Smith. Joe Gallagher is his coach again. He's got that kind of tight, high guard, and he'll just kind of come forward. But he's good at kind of moving in and out of range. You know, he's not literally just like kind of just walking you down with a high guard. He does skip in and out quite nicely, and he's got quite good upper body. Well, more like again, it's quite basic, but it's effective. You know, he tends to kind of like duck quite well underneath punches, and between that and his high guard, he's quite difficult to hit him with much. One thing I think that will, and also he's quite relentless as well, and he's got, you know, he'll come in and he keeps himself very tight even when he throws his punches. So one thing that Linares likes to do is he's coming forward on the front foot, and he'll just come in and draw the lead, and he'll just come under and like come with the uppercuts. That's like something that he tends to do very well. I think he's going to have difficulty doing that with Crolla, because Crolla, he's he's kind of basics. His fundamentals are very tight. Like he'll keep his guard like this, and then when he'll come out with a jab, he'll bring it straight back. You know, he's not like this. There's no gaps underneath. He'll come there and he'll straight back like that. And if he throw the right hand, he'll be like this with his shoulder protecting his chin. And he's kind of, you know, really basic. Like the first things you kind of learn really when you go into a boxing gym, he does that perfectly. So it's simple, but I do think that when he throws his jabs, Linares is going to find it difficult to kind of come with those like kind of counter uppercuts that he does, because you know he's just going to come straight back and he's very tight. So Linares is going to need to find another way in. Um, think he can. I think he's very clever fighter, and he's obviously got a lot of experience. Was he like a three-weight world champion? He's going to try and find. I mean, he's got a good He's got good combinations. He's got good variety. So it's not going to be easy for Crolla either. Crolla in his last fight against. I mean, I picked Barroso to beat him because he's quite unspectacular, really. Crolla. I thought Barroso would beat him after seeing the sort of demolition job he did on Kevin Mitchell. I thought that he'd be too much for him. He ended up knocking him out. Um, Perez before that, most people like tipped Perez to win. To be honest, I pretty much always picked against Crolla. I thought John Murray, if I remember rightly, was going to beat him. He beat him quite easily. So he's always stepping up his game. He's always surprising me. And although he doesn't look that exciting, or in terms he doesn't look that spectacular, he always gets the job done, or at least he has done recently. Um, yeah, and he's just a very determined, very difficult man to beat, Crolla, as well. He'll just keep coming forward. He's tough. I mean, he has been, he got stopped once by Derry Matthews, but he was on his feet, and he was more like tired than anything else. It wasn't like he got sparked out or anything like that. He kind of got hit, it was a good punch, caught him, stumbled him a little bit, and then he just kind of, a bit of a flurry. But when the ref waved it off, he was kind of, he's complaining a little bit. So, he's tough. He's not going to be blasted out. I mean, anyone can be knocked out, of course, straight away with one punch. But I don't see that happening. I see this being quite a tough fight. I think at first it's going to be quite. Both of them will be quite cautious. I think they'll both respect each other. I think as the fight goes on, I think that the atmosphere and the occasion will kind of inspire both of them to step it up a little bit. They'll start to find a few more gaps, I think. And I think personally, just because of the run of form that Crolla's on, just because of I think that the mentality of him right now that I think that he's gonna win. I think he's gonna. Linares has been stopped before. He's been a couple of times against your man. What's he called? The Mexican, Antonio DeMarco. He kind of wore him out, or sort of wore him down. DeMarco wore him down after a period of time. I can see that kind of thing happening again. I can see Crolla basically wearing him out and stopping him late. Don't get me wrong. I wouldn't be surprised if Linares stops him either. It's a very difficult one to pick. Maybe I'm picking slightly with my heart as well as my head. I mean, I'm not being like completely ridiculous, but I do think it's kind of like a 50-50 fight. I think the fact that it's in Manchester, although I said it's not going to affect Linares particularly, I think it will have an effect on Crolla. I just think that he's got such momentum behind him, such confidence at the moment. I think he's going to do it. One thing I would say though is that Linares is a big step up from anyone he's ever fought. In my opinion, Linares is probably one of the best fighters in the world in terms of skills. He's kind of we don't see that much. We've seen him against Kevin Mitchell. Obviously, he's fought in America a few times. Fought quite a lot in Latin America, in Japan. So we haven't seen that much of him recently. But for me, he's one of the best in the world. I just think that at this particular moment, I mean, he's been out for a long time as well, hasn't he, with an injury? Not a long time, but like it's quite inactive. I just don't think he's got the same momentum that Crolla has. And I just think Crolla right now can get to him and just wear him out in a similar kind of way that DeMarco did. That's what I think. Yeah. I don't know. So for Crolla, for the benefit of the people who may not know about this, people like who are not from the UK, Crolla, a couple of fights ago was he was due to fight Richard Avril for some lightweight title, and his neighbour was getting burgled. So he had the burglar alarm, and I don't know why he did it, but he ran out there after him, tried to confront them. They ended up like cracking his head open with a big lump of concrete. So that got him out of that fight, and he had his skull split open. And a lot of people thought that he would never fight again. Next fight, he fights for the world title, gets a controversial draw. A lot of people thought he won. Next fight, he won by knockout, same opponent. And then after that, against Ismael Barroso, who was, I thought was going to beat him. I thought he looked like a real serious threat. He was blasted out Kevin Mitchell, great puncher. Um, he had a real momentum behind him. And I didn't pick Crolla to win. He did. So yeah, I've kind of learnt my lesson really. I've stopped betting against Crolla, so I'm going to go with him this time. But as I say, Linares, one of my best fighters, one of my favourite fighters, and for me, one of the best fighters in the world. So it would be no surprise to me at all if Linares does win this. But yeah, I mean, as I say, I like both of them. So whoever does win, like, fair play to them. And yeah, that's my prediction for it. So thanks for watching.